Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at my level 50 Shadow Hundo Venomoth for Ultra League. Shadow Venomoth is ranked 507th on PvPoke's Ultra League rankings, meaning it really is not a very good Pokemon. It has a lot of weaknesses and it is definitely picked fun rather than for climbing. That being said, I did actually manage to go positive with this team, but that's mostly because Greninja decided to absolutely pop off, and it also decided that the Night Slash boost should have at least a 50% chance of happening today, which was a lot of fun. Let's take a look at the battles. Going into the first game, we lead into a core breaker, Charizard. We swap into Greninja, which is always the safe swap. But when you're faced with a core breaker in Charizard that can beat both Venomoth and Scrafty, you need to gain some sort of advantage, either a shield advantage, try to place the opposing counter swap into farm range for either Venomoth or Scrafty so that they can deal with Charizard, or alternatively, if they counter swap something like a Registeel, you can try to preserve the Greninja so they can swap back into the Venomoth to lure out the Charizard and then get the Greninja onto the Charizard afterwards. So that's what we're gonna try to do here as we go for the Night Slash before they can make it to another move. It takes 12 turns, so the equivalent of 4 Water Shurikens for the Registeel to get to a Thunder. So I think they're gonna be able to get to another one here if we don't throw the Night Slash, but we're gonna try to preserve the Greninja. They're obviously not gonna bring back in the Charizard after we take out this Registeel, as we get a boost on Greninja. So I'm gonna try to swap out at some point. As they bring in the Alolan Sandslash, we want to get something out of this boost, but we also want to save the Greninja. They're one away from the duel run, so we wait one turn, swap into the Venomoth, and because we swapped out one turn before they got to their move, we get an entire confusion through, which turns out to be absolutely massive because it means we can get to this Poison Fang on the Charizard. They will be able to farm us all the way down. And now they're going to be able to come up with enough energy to where we can't really outpace with the Greninja because we barely don't have the move. But we can bring in the Scrafty, and Scrafty is very bulky. We take the Blast Burn on the chin. They're going to have to throw another Blast Burn into Scrafty. They can make it to the Blast Burn. They're overfarmed as well, so they do have some residual energy as they take out the Scrafty with the Blast Burn. But they're low enough to where we can go for the Water Shuriken, take them out, and then they concede the match. Next game, lead into a Swampert. I should probably be staying in with this lead because this is probably the best matchup that Venomoth is gonna see. There's very likely a Charizard in the back when you see Swampert on the lead. But I do swap out into Greninja because we have two better responses in the back, and then they respond with a Skunk Tank after going for a move after 6 mud shots, meaning it could only be a Hydro Cannon. It takes 7 Poison Jabs for the Skunk Tank to get to a move, so we can overfarm and then go for another Hydro Cannon into the Skunk Tank to grab another. No, we don't grab another shield. We grab the shield here after we expend the shield ourselves. So we shield up this Crunch, and then we go for a Hydro Cannon into the Skunk Tank. They're gonna have to shield it or let the Skunk Tank go. They really want to keep a switch advantage. I think they really want the Charizard onto Venomoth. I'm expecting, if it is the Charizard, maybe they have something weak to Venomoth in the back and they really want Swampert on the Venomoth, but they do shield it up. We swap into Scrafty, preserving the Greninja for a Sack Swap later. They make it 2 Hydro Cannon. They should be their 4 cycle. It's 5-4-5, so they should be 5 away from the next one. I don't think a foul play is enough to take out the Swampert. I looked it up afterwards. It only does about 39%. So we have to go for the pop first, and then we can make it to the foul play before they make it to a move on the Swampert. This will take out the Swampert, and now in the back, they have that Skunk Tank with very low HP, but what is the other Pokemon? It's a Registeel. We make it to another Power Up Punch, and now it takes the equivalent of 7.5 counters for the Registeel to get to a Focus Blast. So I think they're gonna throw in the middle of my next counter here, so try to catch the move. I waited a turn, try to catch the move on the Greninja. Unfortunately, we don't catch it. Now they have a lot of energy on the Registeel. We bring in the Venomoth. Venomoth can actually take a Zap Cannon from Registeel, and they have to throw 2 moves into Venomoth from full health. It doesn't get the debuff. We can make it to the Poison Fang, basically just to lower their defense, because both of our moves are gonna do basically no damage, so lowering their defense is a lot more valuable thing. They load back up to the Zap Cannon, played very, very well by swapping into the Skunk Tank. They try to farm down Venomoth. We make it to the Silver Wind on the Registeel. They have cleared their debuff. The Silver Wind will do big damage. We try to snipe them with a counter. They realize we're gonna try to do it, so they go for the Focus Blast to take out the Scrafty. Now we go back in with the Venomoth and we confusion down the Registeel. That is a very good game. Next game, into a Ghost type. We have 2 better responses in the back, so we swap into the Greninja. They're staying in. They do 5 Shadow Claws and then they swap into a Mandibuzz. And Greninja has turned out to be a very good save swap for me today, because, well, if they don't have a good response, like if they have something neutral like a Mandibuzz, down energy against the Greninja is just gonna pop off. As they go for an Aerial Ace, it takes 4, 3, 3, 3 for the Aerial Aces now. So we can make it to a Hydro Cannon. Now they should be one away from the next Hydro Cannon or from the next Aerial Ace. So we go up to the CMP tie, which Greninja is of course always gonna win. Go for the Hydro Cannon and we take out the Mandibuzz, come out with a lot of HP. Now we can make it to a Hydro Cannon on the Shadow Drapion as well. Greninja putting in a lot of work here. As we grab a shield from the Drapion, we can make it to another Hydro Cannon, but I decided to try and go for it on good timing. I should have just thrown it. They make it to a move. We're gonna let the Greninja go at this point, bring in the Venomoth because we want the Scrafty on the Cofagrigus. This is the role of the Venomoth a lot of the time. It's very good at just absorbing energy. As they bring in the Cofagrigus, we let farm up to a Silver Wind, bring in the Scrafty. They still have a lot of energy from earlier, so they go for the Shadow Ball. We do want to save shields for the Drapion, but also we don't want to get too low on Scrafty, and I'm very much not anticipating that they're gonna go for a bait the second time, but maybe if they land another Shadow Ball, they might be able to start going for Dark Pulse baits, if they do have Dark Pulse of course. So we do shield up the second one. I could have probably gone for a pop, looking back at it the first time around, that I only had to land one foul play, but we make it to another foul play before they can make it to another move. And now after they throw this, we should get to the next move at the same time, and I'm pretty sure my Scrafty is gonna win CMP. So I go for the foul play on the potential CMP, and they of course catch it on the Drapion. Nice catch by the opponent, but now we can bring back in the Venomoth, go for the Silver Wind into the Shadow Drapion, Shadow on Shadow. This will take out the Drapion, and now they still have that Cofagrigus in the back, but Venomoth confusions down the Cofagrigus, and that is another very good game. Next game, very good lead for Venomoth into a Machamp, but the opponent does one counter, and then they swap into the hardest wall to this team, Poliwrath. The worst thing we can see. Beats all three of our Pokemon, so we have to go for a Poison Fang. We have to shield up the Weather Ball as well. It would have done a lot of damage into the Venomoth. Go for the Poison Fang, they don't shield it, and now we can bring in the Greninja. We can go for the Night Slash before they make it to a Hurricane, but if I leave my Greninja too healthy, the Machamp is going to get a huge farm down, and it has Rock Slide, so I want to leave my Greninja very low, so we go for it, let them get to the Hurricane, go for a Night Slash into the Poliwrath to take them out. We leave with an absolute minimal amount of HP, come out with a Hydro Cannon as well for the Machamp. The Machamp only gets in one counter. Now they did swap out significantly faster than we did. We stayed in and went for the Poison Fang, so we want to wait out the Switch Timer because the Switch Timer's arm is aligned to do one more counter, bring in the Pidgeot. We can make it to the Poison Fang. Our Switch Timer should be up after this, and now we can bring in the Scrafty, Pidgeot being another core breaker. We bring in the Scrafty, we have to call this. If they go for the Brave Bird, it would do a lot of damage. We call the Feathered, and it is the Brave Bird. It does so much damage. We can make it to the Power Punch because they're debuffed. They should take out the Pidgeot if they no shielded, but they wisely realize that our Venomoth is very low, and even 2 wing attacks will put me low enough to where the Machamp can just counter down the Venomoth, and Machamp is a Venomoth counter, confirmed. Next game, into another Ghost type. We have 2 Dark types in the back, so once again, we're gonna swap into the Greninja. And they're staying in. And then they swap into a Tapu Fini. They give us a big energy head start. Fun fact, Greninja without an energy head start beats Tapu Fini in the 2 shield scenario, even if Tapu Fini baits twice. That's right, Greninja is a Tapu Fini counter, confirmed. So we're just gonna shield up this move. We don't really care if it's a bait or not, they do bait us. It's a little bit annoying, but now we can make it to another Hydro Cannon. This will barely not take them out, but they do not shield it, and now we can make it to a Night Slash. I don't want to take a Moonblast, and I think they were quite close to it, so we go for the Night Slash. They do shield it up, we get the boost, we farm down the Tapu Fini before they make it to a move. In the back, it's a Shadow Gliscor. You probably already guessed it. Shadow or Hydro Cannon from Greninja, boosted, one-shots the Gliscor. They bring in the Giratina, we go for the Night Slash as well, on bad timing. I just want to make sure I get it off, and I think the opponent may have rage quit or closed their app. Maybe the app force closed, I don't know. Maybe it couldn't handle the boost from Greninja, but they do stand still. It looks like they're not in the game anymore, so we can make it to the Hydro Cannon. I don't know if this is bad manners, but we go for it. Boosted Hydro Cannon does take out the Giratina, and that is a very good game. Next game, horrible lead for Venomoth. We're gonna save swap out of here as quickly as possible into Greninja. They're staying in for a bit, and then they go for a drill run. I don't know, I shouldn't be able to sneak that one Water Shuriken in. I think they lagged for a turn, but they go for a duel one. We do shield it up, and then they bring in a Tapu Fini. It takes 20 turns for the Tapu Fini to get to a Moonblast, so we will be able to do at least 6 Water Shurikens before they get there. And then we can just start spamming Hydro Cannons like absolutely crazy with Greninja. We will even be able to make it to another Hydro Cannon on the CMP tie, on the Moonblast. Had I known that we were gonna go for it immediately, I would have gone for an extra Water Shuriken. But as it is, we're gonna shield up this move. If they go for the bait, of course we have already expended 1 shield, so it would be a little bit rough. But they full send the Moonblast, meaning they're very far from the next one. Because we got the debuff, I don't think another Hydro Cannon will be enough, so I think I have to land 2 Night Slashes instead. They're still a bit away from the Moonblast. They go for a move after only about 14-15 Water Guns, so we can't let it go, it's only the third. And then we can make it to another Night Slash on the Tapu Fini. This will take out the Tapu Fini. And in the back, or in the front, it was the Alolan Sandslash. We've one switch advantage. Now we can get Scrafty on the Alolan Sandslash. We can also get off a Hydro Cannon to do big damage. And then bring in the Scrafty. They will make it to a move after 5. This is only an Ice Punch. And then I'm anticipating they're going to swap out. So I don't want to give them an energy head start. I want to bring in Venomoth to start applying these debuffs onto whatever they have in the back. But this might be a bit of a mistake. Because if they can come out of this matchup with energy, this might be a bit of a problem. As we make it to a Poison Fang, this puts them into a range where one foul play will be enough to take them out, which is nice. But they go for the Shadow Ball, and it doesn't take me out. It puts me in perfect farm range to where they can come out with energy on the Jellicent. They still have a shield, and this is looking very rough for Scrafty as they go for the first surf. Looks like they need 3 surfs in order to take out Scrafty. They go for another one. I think there's no way in hell I'm making it to 2 foul plays before they make it to another surf. So I do 1 more counter, make sure to throw in the middle of the Hex, go for the Power Up Punch bait, and we force the shield. But the Jellicent still gets to the surf before we can make it to the foul play. 1 turn before we make it. This surf will take out the Scrafty, and that is a good game. Next game, good lead for Venomoth. We don't see a lot of these. We lead into a Tentacruel, they swap into a Greedent. We respond with Scrafty. This is looking very good. As we go for the Power Punch, this was a CMP, so now we do know that Scrafty wins CMP against Greedent, which is nice to know for later. It takes 4 Mud Shots for Greedent to get to Body Slams. They should be in 3 now. So I think, looking at the damage from that Body Slam, we might just be able to only Power Punch once and then fully farm them down. If they make it to 2 Body Slams, I will go for a Power Up Punch on the CMP, but they make it to back-to-back Body Slams. But because they are so low and the counter went through, we don't have to throw another Power Punch. We can just farm them all the way down, come out with a ton of energy on our boosted Scrafty to start throwing foul plays into this Tentacruel. I was looking at maybe we could get to a pop and a foul play here to boost up the foul play. I go for the foul play just to make sure we can get damage onto the Tentacruel or grab a shield, which is also absolutely fine. They do get a big farm down. I think they undercharged the last Body Slam with Greedent to leave him with more health to get bigger or more of a farm on Tentacruel, which is a good play. They can make it to a Scald, we can take it on Venomoth, they make it to another Scald, and we do shield up this one, planning on just debuffing whatever they have in the back, and then bringing in Greninja. But it's a Virizion in the back. We go for the Poison Fang immediately because, again, I wanted to just throw this as quickly as possible so they can swap out afterwards. But because it's a Virizion, we really don't want Greninja on the Virizion, of course. They should be 3 away from the next one, so we can do 2 more 4-turn moves to throw in good timing after 8 turns. It takes 9 turns for the 3 double kicks. And then we can make it to another Poison Fang. They could go for 1 more double kick here to throw in good timing, but then the confusion damage would most likely apply. And that would just be absolutely devastating for them, so they threw in bad timing instead. But because they threw in bad timing, they don't have enough energy to make it to a Leaf Blade before we make it to the Night Slash with the Greninja to take out the Virizion. In the back, there is the Tentacruel, very low health. We can make it to another Night Slash, and this will take out the Tentacruel as well. A team that was core breaking by Venomoth, I mean, come on, that's pretty cool. Next game, lead into another Tentacruel, they swap into a Scrafty. We're gonna play it the same way we played earlier, go for the Poison Fang, and then we're gonna dip out. Or, no, this is the first Scrafty. No, I'm thinking of another game, but we go for the Poison Fang, and then we're gonna swap into our own Scrafty. We have debuffed the defense and done a little bit of damage with the confusion, so we will be able to farm them all the way down. It will be a little bit close, but we should be able to keep switch advantage here with the Scrafty as we go for a Power Up Punch of our own. Looking at how much damage the Power Up Punches did, even though their next one is boosted a little bit, I I don't think it will be enough to take out my Scrafty, and I'm pretty sure the counter will be enough to take out their Scrafty. So we let the Power Punch go, and we come out of that matchup without having to expend a shield, and we keep switch advantage, which is absolutely huge. As we make it to a Power Punch as well on the Tentacruel, doesn't do a lot of damage, but every chip helps. We wait out the switch timer because they swapped out before we did, and then we bring in the Venomoth. They're staying in with the Tentacruel, and they throw 6 poison jabs, throw on bad timing, and then they just deny us, which is a little bit annoying. Then they bring in Obstagoon, and this is really bad because Greninja has absolutely nowhere to go. We go for the Poison Fang. I think I maybe should have gone for the Silver Wind, as once again they throw an alignment to give us an entire confusion through. But now we can lift the Night Slash, make it to the Silver Wind, and because of course we're gonna have to swap out here after, otherwise we get the farm down. So we bring in the Greninja, they throw on bad timing once again. And now there should be 5 away from the next move as we shield this up. A Hydro Cannon only does about 38%, but because we went for that Poison Fang, that actually comes in absolutely clutch here. Because now the Hydro Cannon takes out the Obstagoon. In the back they still have that Tentacruel, and it's quite healthy. This is not a good matchup for Greninja, but we can make it to a Night Slash. Does almost half of their remaining health. We make it to another Night Slash. We still have that Venomoth in the back. They don't want to take too much fast move damage, so they go for the move immediately, hoping that with this amount of health they can fast move us down before we confusion them down. We bring back in the Venomoth. One confusion from the Venomoth takes out the Tentacruel, and that is a very good game. Next game, again I should probably just stay in here, but again I swap into Greninja. They're staying in, do 4 mod shots, and then they bring in a Galarian Weezing. And this is not a bad matchup for Greninja, especially not up energy, because Greninja just farms up energy so quickly. They make it to a move after 7, meaning this can be a play rough, so we do shield it up. It's an overheat. Usually Galarian Weezings run Brutal Swing and then either play rough and overheat. So because it's overheat, we absolutely wall them, and they've already debuffed their own attack. So I'm just gonna let them get to another move. That was the idea with the undercharge. But they decide to shield it up, and then they bring in the Shadow Swarmbot once again, and I realize it's probably Charizard in the back. That is a team that I've been seeing quite a lot, as I make another mistake by going for another Water Shuriken, even though I was at 100 energy. I want to save the Greninja for the Charizard, as I go for the bait as well, which they just savagely no shield, which is really annoying. Bring in the Scrafty, they go for a Hydro Cannon to put me into Wing Attack downrange, which is a really good play. We can make it to a foul play on the Charizard. But this is a bit of a problem. The foul play does land, the Charizard does live it, and now they can just farm us all the way down. I think I could have gone for the foul play here, but we go for the Power Punch, expecting them to shield everything really. But they decide to just no shield it. They come out with 2 blast burns, and I've been doing this to a lot of people in the past. They go for the first blast burn, one shot the Venomoth. They have another one stored. They have 2 shields, no point in throwing any moves from the Greninja. Blast burn takes out the Greninja as well, and you gotta respect it. That looked absolutely gorgeous. Next game, good lead for Venomoth into a Poliwrath. They respond, or they swap into a Charizard. We respond with Greninja. It is a Shadow Charizard. We can make it to the Night Slash. Has less Hydro Cannon before they make it to a move. We go for the bait with the Night Slash, and once again we get the boost. And once again the opponent throws some bad timing. We get an entire Water Shuriken through. They go for the Dragon Claw. They will be able to make it to a Blast Burn as well. We shield both of them, and we come out with so much energy on a boosted Greninja, and this thing is just absolutely terrifying. I don't want to go over 100 energy, so I do throw at bad timing on this Hydro Cannon. They do have a Poliwrath to absorb this energy, but Poliwrath is bulky, and Hydro Cannon still does so much damage. We make it to another Hydro Cannon with the Greninja into the Poliwrath, and Greninja even makes it to the Night Slash as well, meaning Greninja will just be able to fully take out the Poliwrath, being the Poliwrath counter that it is. In the back, a bit of an awkward Pokemon to see. It's a Registeel. We bring in the Venomoth after letting Greninja get farmed down, because we want to leave the switch timer open, because we've taken a little bit of fast move damage on Venomoth. I think one Zap Cannon will put me into farm down range, and I don't want my Venomoth to be switch locked, because once they land this Zap Cannon, they're gonna be able to lock on me down if I'm switch locked. So by leaving the switch timer open, we can swap into the Scrafty after debuffing them with the Poison Fang, go for the Power Punch. They shield it up, realizing their only win condition is that a Focus Blast is enough to take out Scrafty. In Great League, that might almost be the case, but in Ultra League, Scrafty is just a little bit more bulky, and they concede the match. Next game, nightmare lead into a Steelix. We swap into Greninja, and they're staying in for a little while, giving us an energy head start, and then they bring in Tapu Fini, and as I've already said, this is not a Greninja counter. We go for the first Hydro Cannon. This is a little bit of a drawn out matchup. I think I sped up the first time, but then I forgot to speed up the last two. As we make it to another Hydro Cannon, and we're going to be able to make it to yet another Hydro Cannon. I do overfarm once again, and the other Hydro Cannon is not enough to take them out, so we'd rather overfarm. So I overfarm, go for another Hydro Cannon, as they of course bait with a Surf. So we can make it to another Hydro Cannon, they do shield it up, and then we can make it to yet another Hydro Cannon on this Tapu Fini before they make it to the Moonblast. And they do not shield it, and then they live it. That was a bit of a mistake, because when they live it, they're still going to be able to get off the Moonblast. I could have overfarmed instead. Now we come out with not that much HP. And yeah, I could have overfarmed, shielded, and then come out with a lot more energy, as I should say. We can make it to a Night Slash. They shield up the first Night Slash on the Goliathopod for some reason. We make it to another Night Slash, and we even get the boost. Once again, this Night Slash won't do all that much damage, but it's still nice to get the boost from the first one. I don't know, you usually don't want to shield the first move from a Night Slash user, as they make it to the X-Scissors to take us out. We can bring in the Venomoth, because of course we want the Scrafty on the Steelix. I'm expecting they might want to switch out here, so I don't want to be like have to throw an entire confusion in. So I do wait a turn to see up in the top right corner if the Steelix came in, and it did, so we just swap into the Scrafty, not giving them any energy advantage, and then we can make it to a Power Punch. This is actually a very close matchup, which is absolutely disgusting. Like, why is this close? It is a fighting type versus a steel type. We're doing super effective damage with all of our moves, and they're doing neutral damage with all of their moves. And it's still just so close. As they're debuffing us, we're rebuffing us. Power Punch, Breaking Swipe, you know the drill. As they can make it to another Breaking Swipe. This won't take out the Scrafty, but the Switch Timer does come up now. So we go for one more counter. They do swap out. We swap into the Venomoth. They will be able to outpace us to an X-Scissor, but this is only an X-Scissor because they only threw 5. We do resist it, but Venomoth can't live it. We can't get off the Poison Fang. But so we have to go for the foul play into the Goliathopod. Now this is going to come down to fast moves. Counter versus Dragon Tails. Scrafty takes out the Steelix. 1 turn's difference. And that is a good game. Next game, lead into Sylveon. Good game. Or a good game. No, good lead if they run Charm. They do run Charm, and then they bring in a Scrafty. Once again, another team core broken by Shadow Venomoth. This is a little bit funny. We can make it to a Poison Fang on the Scrafty, then bring in our own Scrafty to just make sure we can keep Switch and keep Venomoth on their Sylveon as they make it to a Power Punch. They can make it to another one, but this time I think we can just take the next Power Punch, farm them all the way down. The opponent actually plays this very well by not throwing another move, leaving me with more HP so they can get more farm on their Sylveon pretty much for free, because they completely walled the Scrafty. And the Sylveon does have Size Shock, so that is actually a very nice play, getting energy on the Sylveon, because now they can threaten the Venomoth. Once again, they swapped out about 15 seconds before we did, so we want the Switch Timer to come back up. So we can bring in the Venomoth, bring in the Greninja on their Greninja. They don't throw a move, so we get to throw the fast moves were misaligned, so we get to throw ours and only give them 1 or 2 fast moves or 1 or 2 turns worth of energy, whereas when they throw theirs, we get an entire Water Shuriken through. When the fast moves are misaligned, you do want to be the first person to throw your fast move, as we make it to another Hydro Cannon on the CMP. Very nice to know that we win CMP, and we can take a shield from them. I'm thinking that I'm going to be able to live another Hydro Cannon here, so if they go for it, we can no shield it and then make it to another move. But as they go for the Night Slash, we are now ahead on energy, so we can shield this up and then go for one more Water Shuriken, bring in the Venomoth. As we see, they bring in the Sylveon. It takes 8 charms for the first Size Shock, 7 for the second, so Venomoth, after shielding the first one, can farm the Sylveon all the way down before they make it to another move. Come out with 2 silver wins for the Greninja. We go for the first one. This will of course grab the shield. We make it to the second silver win, and this is super effective against the Greninja. This will of course take out the Greninja, and Venomoth wins that game. Next game, final game, lead into a Talonflame. Same procedure as in the beginning of the video. They go for 1 Incinerate, we bring in the Greninja, and once again, this is a matchup that Greninja can actually quite comfortably win in the 2-shield scenario. If the Registeel does not shield a move before they debuff us. So when they let the second Hydro Cannon through, as you can see, a third one is enough, and with the Water Shuriken adding up, even if they get the debuff here, we will be able to take them out, as they also go for the Focus Blast, which of course can't get the debuff. We can overfarm, make it to another Hydro Cannon on this Registeel. If they shield it, we're just going to be able to make it to another one. They don't shield it, they bring in their own Greninja. And now we want to save the Greninja, bring in the Venomoth as a sacrifice, as is the best role of the Shadow Venomoth. They go for a Night Slash, then they bring in the Talonflame, but now by bringing in the pivoting into the Venomoth, we can now align Greninja, save the Greninja, align it onto Talonflame, and then align Scrafty onto the Greninja in the back. So we bring in the Greninja, they are at 100 energy, they throw the first one. No matter what, even if they're at 100 energy, they will still be one Incinerate away from the Brave Bird, even if they go Flame Charge the first time around. So we can't safely shield the first one, go for one Water Shuriken, throw the Night Slash, and then throw the second Night Slash on CMP to grab both shields from the Talonflame. They are at the Brave Bird now, they will take out the Greninja, but now we can bring in the Scrafty, they bring in their Greninja, but they saved a lot of energy on their Greninja. And the Hydro Cannons from Greninja actually do a lot of damage, do about 35% to the Scrafty it looks like. They can make it to another one, but this won't take out Scrafty. It looks like we might be able to farm them all the way down. They go for the Hydro Cannon, Scrafty lifts it, we farm the Greninja all the way down. Go a little bit risky by farming the Talonflame all the way down as well, but we do win that game, and that is a very good game. That was the last battle for today. Overall, I want to reiterate, do not build a Shadow Venomoth for Ultra League. It is so bad. It cost me 660k dust and I pretty much only used it as a sacrifice. Greninja, on the other hand, was a ton of fun to use. I really want to try a different team with that, especially when it's boosting all the time, obviously. But other than that, fun fact of today, against the Raid IV Registeel, Greninja just straight up wins the 2-shield scenario. Against the Beta IV one, you do need to land 2 Hydro Cannons before they get a debuff, so if they don't shield one of the first 2, you might actually be in good shape. Also, let me know what you think about the music in today's video. Don't know if you noticed, but there was music for the first time, so just let me know, do you like it or not? Other than that, if you like the video, remember to leave a like. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. And of course, a massive thank you to the members of the channel. Your support is very much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.